As someone who started with no money and made all the way to being financially free, I'm going to share with you 3 things that rich people won't tell you, but I will. Number 1 is visualizing where you want to be. I have a friend who is a self-made millionaire. He wasn't born rich. He was born to a family of farmers, and he made his fortune working hard, making connections, and taking risks. One thing he told me really stood out and stuck with me. Even when he and his wife were just starting out and they had no money whatsoever, they used to dress in their best clothes during the weekend and go and have coffee in the best hotel in the city. Just coffee, that's all they could afford at the time, but they made sure to have it at the place where all the rich and the famous did. That way, they signal to themselves that this is where they belong, even though they didn't have that kind of money yet. That gave them a very clear vision of where they're heading, what they're working for, which really motivated them and made all the difference. Number 2 is delayed gratification. I love designer bags and clothes just like any other girl, and having the latest car. I mean, who doesn't? It just makes me really sad to think about the missed opportunity costs of buying these things. Missed opportunity cost is what you lose when you choose one option over the other. It's honestly very important to think about it because it helps you understand what you're giving up, what value you're giving up when you spend money. For example, if you buy a new car, instead of investing that money into stocks, you're losing on the earning potential from the stocks. I'm not judging anyone who buys designer pieces. I do it myself from time to time. But when I do treat myself to something like this, I buy secondhand. Because if I have a couple $1,000s or more, I prefer to invest it in a dividend ETF that will bring me income every month, or put it as a down payment for another property that will also bring me monthly income. I have friends who trade their car every 2-3 years. Cars are not a great investment anyway because they lose value once you drive them out of the dealership. Cars today are more reliable than they used to be, so there's no real reason to replace them every few years. When you're buying a new car every 2-3 years, you're losing between 10 and 20% of the value of the car each time. So having delayed gratification mindset is honestly very important. Because if you're disciplined and you fight the urge to spend on unnecessary things, you can use that money to invest and buy a portfolio of assets. Don't do it the other way around. Don't buy the fancy things before you have the assets that, at the very minimum, cover your monthly expenses, at least without lifting a finger. Our goal is to be rich, not just to look rich. If you're getting value from this video so far, please do me a quick favor. Just click on the like button below. It helps with the algorithm and the ranking. And why not subscribe to the channel and follow if you haven't already done so. Number 3 is don't have negative thoughts about money. Take me, for instance. I've been told that money can't buy you happiness so many times. We've all been indoctrinated with that narrative. I remember myself thinking about it quite a lot as a teenager because it just didn't ring true to me. I mean, I had my personal experience. Money did bring me happiness, and I worked my butt off to earn it as a teenager and in my early 20s. I bought myself things that I really wanted and my parents couldn't afford. And it brought me a lot of happiness. I felt very empowered to discover that if I hustle, I could take care of myself financially. And on the other hand, I had this negative narrative buzzing in my head, money can buy you happiness, which contradicted the way I actually felt. So I guess that gap between how I perceived the reality and what society was telling me is what made me think about it over and over in my head, trying to make sense of it. Lucky for me, I was always an independent thinker, so I just decided to listen to my gut. I learned that the most important thing that money can buy you is freedom. Freedom to choose your lifestyle, freedom to decide where you live, freedom not to be dependent on another person, be it your spouse, your boss, or your parents. Of course, money doesn't guarantee you happiness, but it does buy you the freedom. And when you're free to create the life that you want, you have a much better chance to be happy. I have deep conversations with people about their money beliefs, and I hear them tell me about the way they were brought up to demonize money. Money is the root of all evil. Money changes people for the worse. In order to make money, you have to sacrifice your morals. These are just some of the beliefs that my friends were brought up with. And as a result of that, instead of putting your brain into full mode problem solving of how can I earn more money, you're thinking, I better not earn too much because it will change me as a person. But if you're actually a good person, money can help you do more good things. One of the most meaningful things that I did in my life was saving shelter dogs. Once I started earning passive income, I immediately started donating to dog shelter charities. And I also became a foster home for shelter dogs, finding them a forever home. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have the money or if I needed to sell my time in a 9-to-5 job. So the real change is understanding that money is just a tool and you decide how to use it. Once you realize that you're blaming outside forces for not being able to make money, but actually it's your negative thoughts that are stopping you, then you can start making the change that you want. Yes, there is inflation. Yes, there is cost of living crisis. Yes, prices of real estate have gone up, but there are still ways to make money even in this economy. If you look at what people need, what problems you can solve for them, and if you're willing to be flexible and learn new skills. So if you're feeling like you're not making enough money right now, please take care of your negative thoughts first. So go watch my other videos about how I retired early, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.